Hi, if you're new, welcome, and if you're coming back, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate that you are here, taking time out of your day to take a listen to this Wip and Chat. I am trying another new filming setup, and I think this might work better. I rigged a different table we have that's kind of not in use to hold the filming arm, so that when I move this lap desk that I'm on, it's not shaking the camera, though I guess that you're still seeing it moving if I do that. But I think this would hold a better image. It is, let me start with this. It is 1:30 in the afternoon, and by this time I have trouble finding words. So forgive me if I am rambling or muttering. I am really tired today. Today is Friday, March 10th. I think that's the date that I'm filming this. Let me show you this pen. This is my newest pen from Bistro Blanks. I absolutely love it. It's a panda in a field of purple flowers. She's got some blue up here for the sky, kind of a teal on the back here for the grass. It's nice. It's nice and comfortable. Each end is a bit of a different grip, a width, so you could flip it. I flip it based on if I'm using my single or my multi-placer. I usually put the multi-placer at the bottom so that the pen is standing upright, because I use the multi-placer more, so I can admire the pen as I'm diamond painting right side up. Absolutely love this. These are the everlasting stainless steel tips that I use in anytime I'm doing diamond painting. Some people ask me about the width. Now, let me see if I can pull my light a bit more. Maybe that would be better. No, it's not gonna. Anyways, these are the everlasting tips. You can see there, hopefully. Get some window light. Anyways, single placer. In my single placer, I use glue dots. And in my multi-placer, I use putty. I can't remember whose putty is in this one, and this is just a normal glue dot. My tray is my DP Gal Creations. I hope I don't make a mess here. DP Gal Creations white silk tray. I believe this is the medium size. This is a size I like the most for multi-placing. You can fill your tray, and usually in the section I'm working on, I don't have to refill the tray. As you can see, I fill the tray too full all the time anyways. I will switch my pen out maybe when I'm done doing this black, because I forgot I did an unboxing of a small shop called Oh Snap Crafters Cafe, and the owner recently developed her own version of glue dots, and I have them in another pen in the single placer that I was using a bit earlier before I clicked play, and it was working really well. So I'll switch that out in a bit and let you see that in action. Where do I want to start? It's Friday. I get my days so jumbled up because I'm at home right now. I don't really need to know what day it is. I just look at my phone or the calendar. I have appointments all the time, but those are written down or set as reminders, because I will forget. Very forgetful these days. But yesterday, I did a whole bunch of filming. You may have heard me say this in one of the other videos, that I recently had some injections. I had an intercostal nerve block, it's called. They inject some freezing and steroids into the nerves that send signals to the ribs. So it was done on, I think, 4 or 5 different levels, so 4 or 5 different ribs, to help with some pain that I'm having, and that worked. That really worked. I wish I advocated for that procedure a lot earlier. I think it should have been done a long time ago, but that's the problem when you become complicated. The doctors kind of don't know what to do, or some doctors have a preferred recommended procedure, and when that doesn't work, they kind of go, I don't know, instead of researching. So I can't quite remember how I I think I just took it to Google, and the pain pattern that I'm having, which was on the side, my side, kind of under the armpit, over my ribs, is quite intense, and it was affecting my ability to breathe. So I just did some Googling, and because I'm a nurse, I know kind of what is, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Like authentic, what's scholarly, believable, true. I don't know the word I'm looking for. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to convey. So yeah, I just went to Google, and intercostal neuralgia is the condition that popped up, and I thought, geez, why didn't I think of this earlier? I totally have that along with everything else that's wrong with me. So I'm really happy that procedure helped. I see that doctor again in April, and he said that we could redo it every 3 months. So I'm just gonna get him to book the next one, because by the time they get me in, it's gonna be 3 months. It hasn't taken all the pain away. None of these procedures do, but it has, I would say it's dampened it down by 75%, which I think is a lot. I think the doctor would be happy with that too. I am. I'm of the mindset that any procedure or injection or anything medical that can be done relatively safely, I want to try, so that I don't have to take so many medications by mouth, because the medications used for chronic pain and nerve damage are they're hard on the body. And I don't know if there's, at least I haven't researched it into long-term effects of some of these medications. Because I'm so young, I'm only 33, the nerve damage I have is not going away, and the condition I have is reoccurrent, which means it's going to keep happening. Every time I have a surgery, it's only going to help me for so long before I need another surgery. And at some point, they're going to tell me that we're not doing surgery anymore because it's too risky. I am not looking forward to that day. But because I'm so young, I really want to be mindful of the medications I take. I don't want to end up in kidney or liver failure, which I've seen young people. I had somebody in kidney failure in their late 30s, waiting for a transplant once, just from taking Advil for a sports injury. Pretty consistent Advil use. That's any anti-inflammatory, Advil or ibuprofen, naproxen. Those two are the most common ones. Difloconate, at least in Canada, you can get it as an oral tablet too. Those are really hard on the kidneys, and also on the stomach. They can cause a lot of stomach problems, like stomach ulcers, gastritis, which is inflammation of the stomach, and then kidney problems too. So the medications, that you take are with risk, as any procedure I have. I'd like to trust the experts that I am under the care of, and trust that their knowledge is in fact expert, and that the procedures they are offering are going to help me. So I had that done, and then on, just let me think, it's Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, 3 days ago, I had more injections. That round of injections was Botox, steroids, and freezing into the back of my skull, my neck, my shoulders, my chest, my arm, all over the place. I really think that she poked me the most she's ever poked me. I am pretty sure she beat her own record for poking me with those needles, but they do help. Botox, when used for, it's used in me for tight muscles, to contractures, and to make the muscles relax. When the muscles are tight, they squeeze the nerves, which makes the nerve pain and worse. So when they inject Botox into the muscle will relax. It basically freezes. That not only reduces muscle pain, but also compression on the nerves, so nerve pain. I'm just going to shake my tray. I absolutely love DP Gal Creations. They shake out beautifully every time. The camera is a bit left, to the left a bit, just the way the part of the canvas I'm working on. I hope that's okay. So Tuesday I had those injections, and sometimes they make me sick before they make me better. I did feel awful for the 2 days, but yesterday, Thursday, I felt better. So I thought I would do some filming to keep busy, because I still was quite sore from the injections, but I didn't feel sick. The night of the injections, I couldn't sleep. I was awake I had fallen asleep probably by 9 and then awake at 1, and then couldn't go back to sleep until 10 a.m. Had a nap, woke up feeling even worse. I find that if I have a nap, it just makes me feel worse. I really hate having to lay down in the middle of the day, but when you're awake at 1 in the morning, you kind of have to. Yeah. So yesterday I decided to take y'all down to my storage locker. I live in an apartment. My diamond art club, or I should say my diamond painting stash, is in my storage locker. I do keep a few up here in the apartment, but majority are down there. So I took you guys down there. I'm thinking that I will post the stash video before this Wip and Chat goes up. In that case, I will link the video at the end of this one. So you can just click it and go right to that video if you want to see my diamond painting stash. It's small. I've destashed a lot of paintings. During the period that I wasn't diamond painting much, that's when I destashed. I got rid of things that I thought that images that I didn't really have a desire to paint anymore. I kept some of the ones that of my favorite artists. And then now that I've picked diamond painting up again, I've noticed that the images that I want to diamond paint has changed. My favorite artists used to be, I guess they still are. I mean, the art that I was attracted to initially was the darker stuff. Enz Guerrero, Ina Morte, Christopher Lavelle. Who else do I have? I do have a Chrysabug one, the Persephone one that she did. So that's a bit of a darker art painting. I'm trying to think. I think that those are the main artists that... Sarah Richter, sorry, is another one. Growing up, I dealt with a lot of anxiety. I think I touched on this in the stash video too. A lot of anxiety and depression. And because of that, my childhood was quite traumatic. And I just have always related to the message I see when I see that kind of dark art, like some of N's work. I just relate to it, the meaning that it might not be the same meaning that the artist has for doing the painting, but whatever meaning that my brain attaches to it, I just relate to it. So that's why I kind of like that darker art stuff. But I find when I work on the darker art pieces, one, they're a lot more bland color-wise, typically, so a lot more neutral colors. I find after a while I get very bored. I like a painting that has lots of color changes. Keeps me engaged, I guess, rather than doing like a whole bunch of browns over and over and over again. So I've kind of steered away from the neutral paintings, and I'm trying to get more bright paintings. Also, I don't know, when you work on dark things, it kind of brings your mood down a little bit, at least for me, because I picked those paintings because they had meaning to me. The meaning I attributed to them was from periods of my life where I was kind of surrounded by darkness, where I felt alone, where I felt hurt, where I felt damaged, where I felt alone. I don't know if I said that word. Sorry if I did. So when I'm doing that painting, it kind of brings back those memories. And then, of course, that's going to make you feel a little bit sad, even subconsciously, right? I mean, if you spend your whole day just listening to the negative thoughts in your head, versus listening to the positive ones, your mood is totally different. Night and day, which is why it's so positive to focus on the positive and ignore the negative thoughts. But anyway, that's for another video. So I've started buying and keeping lookout for brighter paintings. In that stash video is mostly darker. I do have a couple brighter images, and then I have some unboxings that I'll do. I filmed them separately that are kind of springtime paintings. I went crazy on Diamond Art Club's website, and I bought 5 in one order, and that's because I bought 3 and I thought that was reasonable, more than enough. And then as soon as I hit buy, the thing popped up saying something along the lines of if you place another order within, I think it was 25 or 30 minutes, we'll give you 25% off. And that's because likely they noticed that we might place multiple orders. Also, it's an incentive to buy, because who doesn't like a good discount, right? And then that saves them extra shipping costs if we were to place the orders separately. So it's a smart tactic, and I fell for it. So I added 2 more. So I had a total of 5 paintings that I think all were, I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, they all were brighter paintings. And then I also filmed an unboxing for 2 newer Diamond Art Clubs that I decided I had to have. One was that Dakota Dateweiler painting, Glass Mermaid. I don't own any Dakota Dateweiler just because her images tend to be really big, and I'm shying away from bigger pieces just because they're too hard for me to work on. So I thought that was a perfect size. I could enjoy Dakota's artwork while still staying within my limits. So I, of course, bought that one on Diamond Release. I always watch for their email because they tend to come early. For me, at least. I know quite a while ago, like over a year ago, they used to come late, and I had sent Diamond Art Club an email saying, hey, it's not really fair that it's coming late, because some of them would, at that time, some would sell out in the Diamond early release, and I didn't get my email link until like 20 after 9. So by the time I would log in, it would be gone. Now, I would still get it on the general release, so it's not a problem. But I had sent them an email just saying, hey, is there a problem or whatever, and they did something, and now I get the emails a bit early, usually a bit before 9 most of the time. So I always watch for that email rather than just watching the clock and then going on, just in case that email gets sent early. It's a little tip that I recommend if you're in the Diamond, or I think it's Ruby tier, also gets early access. Yeah. And the other one I got with that order was Tigra Mantra. Tigra Mantra was Christopher Lavelle. It's a darker colored painting with a big tiger in the middle. There's some skulls and I think unicorns, and yeah, I have that piece as a cross stitch kit actually. I haven't cross-stitched that pattern for a little while because it's such bland colors. It got a bit boring. So I had switched to a different cross-stitch, another Christopher Lavelle, but Lilith, which I'm hoping Diamond Art Club actually turns into a diamond painting. I did post somewhere once saying, could you please make this into a diamond painting? And Diamond Art Club's response was okay. So I took it that it was probably already in production or in plans or I don't know if we voted on her yet or not. But a lot of people also like the image. I like Lilith because of the colors in the painting are a bit different than what Christopher Lavelle's other ones have been, which are more neutral. As I said, I'm trying to work on canvases with more color. I just find them a bit more fun. I don't get as bored. Anyways, Tigra Mantra. So I got that as the diamond painting too. Now I'm trying to think, because I filmed so much yesterday that today I'm exhausted. I'm sore. I feel like I ran a marathon, because I'm not used to doing much in a day, and using my arms is very hard. So today today's a rest day, what I like to say. In the Tiger Mantra, I'm pretty sure it is that kit that had 3 crystals, or it had 2 crystals and 1 metallic. You'll have to check the unboxing video that I did on that. For specifics, I did point out where the special drills were. And the big triangle around his face is the one where I think it was a yellow crystal. If I'm remembering correctly, which I think would look really cool, because I had thought if they had put ABs there, I was going to switch it out for a crystal. I kind of like crystals more than ABs. Maybe it's just because the kits always come with ABs. It's a regular thing, but the crystals are kind of a little bit different, a little bit more special. I'm really happy that Diamond Art Club is starting to chart some crystals and special diamonds into their kit. I watched a sneak peek today by Stitcherista. If you don't follow her, check her out. She's been in the community a very, very long time. She took somewhat of a break from diamond painting and was focused on cross stitch, but more recently she's flipped back over to diamond painting, and this was her first sneak peek now that she's been back. And in that sneak peek, it was the Hannah Lynn one. I think it was an astronaut. I could be totally wrong, but I know it was a Hannah Lynn one because that's her favorite, one of her favorites at least. It looked like they have a quad cube in there, so that's pretty cool. It'd be interesting to see where that goes. I'm pretty certain it was a quad cube. Diamond Art Club doesn't, like on the canvas, it's just identified by a letter, and I don't think, we're not all kind of up to date on the lettering system. I think L, they use L for crystals. I think Y maybe was the quad cube. Again, I could be totally wrong. I'm just going based on my memory, which isn't always reliable. This section I'm working on here is quite big. I just didn't want to pull another release paper out of the cupboard. Again, saving energy. Let me just switch this color out here. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing well. I hope you are going easy on yourself. It seems to be a common theme that people are struggling. I don't know if it's a common theme that people are struggling or that people are just more willing to share about it. I'm going to move my table for a quick second. There's the symbol I need. Oh, right there, 36. I don't know if it's just people are more willing to share what's going on, which is awesome because, you know, I think mental health needs to be talked about more. Those of us that do struggle with it, I think could share valuable tips on how they got through or get through some of their mental health struggles. Let me just, I said I'd switch my pen out. Let me do that. I know this one, no, I don't know what putty's in this one because I put some Miranda's Crafty Corner, which is my favorite, and then I tried a new putty out, Mary Mud, that's in some of these pens. This is Enabler's Outpost. You've seen it before with my Everlasting Tips. In this single placer, I have Jenny's new product, which is this. If you look on the screen, it's Oh Snap Crafters Cafe. It's the name of the Etsy shop. Oh Snap Dots in the scent Unicorn Farts. And they're little scented glue dots, and she's added some color that you can see in the background there, pink and blue. So far they're working well. I put this glue dot in on, I think it's been 2 days, and I can still smell it. I don't think it's any less strong. It's held the smell good so far, and I leave my diamond painting pens open to air. So that's pretty cool. I've been using it. When I did the unboxing video, the glue dot was popping out a little bit. That's just because it wasn't dirtied up enough. When you use glue dots, when you put a new one in, it's going to be super, super sticky. So you got to dirty it up. And by that, we mean kind of rub it on your shirt or your pants, get some of the fibers on the glue dot, and that just helps reduce the sticky a little bit. So yesterday I did a lot of videos. I did the stash video. I went through my small stash down in the storage locker. I was so scared that somebody would walk in or walk by and hear me talking in there and come investigate, and I'd have to explain what I was doing. But filming that stash video was very hard on me. But I did it in small clips and took breaks. But I am paying for it today. My arms are very sore, especially the left one. So today I've not done much. I did film a small clip, just a short video on the Diamond Art Club toolkits, just in case somebody new is stopping by the channel and, you know, might have questions on the toolkit. I see questions posted daily, almost daily, if not daily, on the VIP group. What's in a toolkit? Why does mine look different? And why don't I have a cover minder? Why don't I have washi tape? So because I did those unboxings at my new Diamond Art Club delivery, I had all those toolkits, so I grabbed two and thought I'd film a short video. I did that this morning, but otherwise, I have just been lounging around. I uploaded videos to my laptop so they're ready to put in my editor and create videos to post. I have been posting a bit because I hate clutter, and when these packages come in, I want to put them away, and but I want to film a video now. And I've had people in my Facebook group ask for specific things. Somebody actually just posted about one of the Art Dot portfolios, and I had just filmed that video. I planned to put it up next week, but I decided just to pop it up since people were talking about it anyways. And I was pleasantly surprised and happy with the product, so I wanted to share it rather than wait and sit on it. I have no patience, and you'll hear me say a lot. When I do something, I just want to, see it through. I don't like doing things in steps or pieces, and another reason is I'll usually forget. So I might film some of these videos, and if I don't put them up in a relatively short time frame, I might forget that I have filmed them. But I did create another folder of videos not published yet, so hopefully that's all I need to remember what hasn't been actually posted yet. I am trying to think here. See, this happens from time to time. I'll lose my train of thought and I kind of just stare out the window. It's not a very nice day today. It's kind of been raining off and on, which I find the rain also affects my abilities. Do you notice the weather? If you have any chronic pain or chronic injury, disability of any sorts, or condition even, do you find the weather plays a factor in it? Now I'm trying to remember what symbol this was that I was doing. I think it was the biohazard symbol. Do you notice changes in weather affect your body? If so, let me know how down below. I definitely notice weather changes. In fact, it was quite funny. The other day, I was struggling, and I said to my husband, "I think it's going to snow today." And he kind of thought, "Huh?" You're crazy. And then not 20 minutes later did it start snowing. And I swear I never looked at the weather. I don't listen to the news because I don't want to be depressed. So I had no idea that it was actually in our forecast. So I thought that was funny. if I can't go back to work as a nurse, I could maybe, perhaps, be a weather lady. But that would likely require me to dress not in sweatpants or day PJs, and that's not happening. That's a good thing about being a nurse too. Even in my last job, is you wear pretty casual, comfy clothes. We used to joke that, I missed a bunch. We used to joke that the best thing about being as a nurse is that you could wear your PJs to work, your scrubs. We always used to joke about that. But it's true, you don't have to put on makeup. You don't have to get all dolled up and have designer clothes and shoes, you just throw on scrubs and off you go. I also I've been fighting with workers' comp since 2018, off and on. And that I could go through that whole story in another video and it would be 45 minutes or longer. But lately I've had to butt heads with them again, and now I'm having to fight again, and I'm actually really proud of myself. I am not letting it bother me as much as it used to. Anytime WCB, and that's what we call it in my province, would come up, I almost had panic attacks, like a bit of anxiety and stress, and my thoughts, I'd start ruminating on all the possible outcomes and the phone calls and the letters and what they're going to say and what I'm going to say. And, the drill. When something stressful happens, your mind just wanders to all the possibilities. But this time I didn't let it. I just kind of said, okay. And I just was okay. And I have to tell you, it was an amazing feeling, because in the past it just sent me spinning, and mentally I just feel usually so unwell, super anxious, very sad, for weeks, usually after an incident like that. But this time I didn't. I felt peace, which is nice. So I'm lucky. I don't know. I don't know in the States, nursing, if you guys have a union. If any of you are nurses in the States, let me know. But we have a good union in BC, and they have appealed any bad decision that workers' comp has made, and I've won them all except one, and that's only because I didn't have the doctor I was seeing at the time wasn't an expert, and that was why. It was regarding my elbow. But everything else we've appealed and won, and I know that that's part of the process. They want to get out of paying people as much as they can, and they hope that you're not going to appeal, you're not going to know what you're doing, or know that you can, or have access to a lawyer, and they're going to save some money. But with the union, all I have to do is email the right person, and they take care of it for me. I just have to answer their emails when they are looking for information, and if we get to the stage again this time where it goes in front of I don't think it's a judge. I think it's like a labor's relation person. It might be a judge. I don't know. She was in a courtroom and did have like a gown on. Last time I had to do that, but that's the only time I actually have to speak to anybody other than the union. So really, I'm very grateful that I have that to support me through this, because let me tell you, the last 3 years have been hell. I had to, when I was originally injured, initially they treated me fine. They sent me to the right doctors. I got injections and procedures and ultrasounds and MRIs, and then I stopped getting better, and they said, well, too bad, you should be better, goodbye. And I at that time found myself in a deep depression, very, very deep, wanting to give up, because one, I still had an extremely painful unknown condition that prevented me from working, that prevented me from living, and I had nobody to help me. Luckily at the time I worked in Emerge, and my colleagues hooked me up I'm just going to take this piece off that's bugging me. Hooked me up with the right specialists, and I had to organize everything. And because of that, by the time I got to see the right specialist for my nerve injury, I had such severe damaged ulnar nerve. I had a claw hand. This whole hand at the time was atrophied. Like you could see the bones, and I had no bumps on the palm of the hand like we usually do at the thumb. And it was all sunken in, and these 2 fingers were numb, and they were actually clawed. Let me zoom out a little bit. My hand was stuck like this, and I couldn't use it. And this was it. And it was usually curled up like that, contracted. So I had severe ulnar nerve damage. And when that doctor, when I finally got in to see that doctor, he took one look at me and said, "Oh my God, like you've fallen through the cracks." And I'm like, "I know." So he did a nerve study 2 days later when he fit me in. It showed severe nerve loss, and I think within 2 weeks I was in the OR with one of his colleagues repairing my ulnar nerve. Yeah. I healed from the ulnar nerve surgery, and you know, I'm trying to remember now because that was quite a while ago. Oh, as I was healing from the ulnar nerve surgery, I actually had a disc in my neck spontaneously explode, basically. About 3 months later, I think. That's not related to the injury. Well, we think it is. Typically, a herniated disc in somebody my age and my health should only really be caused by trauma, like a ski accident or a car accident. I had nothing. The only thing that was wrong was my head was tilted all the way to the left. I couldn't hold it up. And the disc that herniated to the right. So, I mean, it seems plausible that due to that pressure on that part of my spine, that disc just popped. So I had to actually be somewhat rushed into surgery for that to be fixed, which meant my work injury kind of took a backseat in that because the neck was urgent. Once the neck healed, I was back dealing with workers' comp, trying to get a diagnosis, which I finally did get. Thoracic outlet syndrome is what it's called. Mine is severe on the left, and it's reoccurrent and it's progressive. Just the nature of how I developed it. But I've had to fight tooth and nail for absolutely everything. Because of the delay in treatment, because of them, I've suffered permanent damage, which is extremely painful. And I've advocated for specific procedures that would help the pain, which then help my function. And their response was, well, we don't think it's going to help your function, so we're not going to send you for it. Like, how cruel can somebody be when you have somebody in severe disabling pain, but you don't think it's necessary, so you're not going to allow it? Like, just, you know, I could say all sorts of words right now. Even it brings up anger in me. Absolutely ridiculous. Luckily, I have the best doctors on my side, not their side, but my side, that set up the procedure. So yeah, there's that. But it really has been, it's been a tough 3 years dealing with them. But it is a relief now. Now I'm not. Now I'm dealing with long-term disability. They're really awesome because you can take a look at my medical records and see how screwed I am, right? I mean, it's all there. It's just WCB doesn't want to pay for anything they don't have to, so they really do fight. So that's been a big stressor on my mind lately, and then making these videos and filming has thankfully distracted me from that. So for that, I'm super, super grateful. I've been rambling for a while now. I think I will let you guys go. Thank you if you've watched to the end. Let me know down below. Leave a little emoji. Whatever you like. I don't know. I'm basic. I don't know all the fun emojis to say. Leave that in chat, but leave that in the Wip and Chat down below. And let me know what you're working on this week. Until next time, don't forget to like the video if you can. Can you please like the video before you head out, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So until next time, see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.